And obviously the creation involves Lord Brahma as well. And so this week we want to talk about how Lord Narayan expands into the British avatars and employs his material energy, and also Lord Brahma, how he comes about and helps out in the material creation. So at the time of creation, then Lord Brahma is born from the golden lotus flower appearing from the abdomen of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And as Lord Brahma is born, when he's born, he becomes conscious and he sat on the lotus flower seat surrounded by total darkness. And he sat there confused and frustrated. And then he climbed up and down the flower stem, wondering, where he was, where he had come from, and what was going on. In his confusion, he heard a resounding voice call out. It said something like "Tapa, Tapa, Tapa," which he understood meant penance. Somehow he understood that somebody was ordering him to perform austerity, tapa. So Lord Brahma, following the instructions, went straight into meditation, and he meditated for 1,000 celestial years. These are not Brahma's years, the celestial years. These are like 360,000 of our earth years. So after that, Lord Narayan became pleased with his penance, and Lord Brahma suddenly got transported to Vaikuntha, the spiritual sky. And because now Lord Narayan had revealed his personal abode to him, when he was there, he saw the inhabitants with glowing sky blue, fulgent skins and youthfulness. Their eyes resembled lotus petals, and garments were yellowish, and each of them had 4 arms and adorned with pearl necklaces and golden medallions. And then he saw an indescribably attractive couple. This was Goddess Lakshmi and Lord Narayan. Now, Lord had also revealed his eternal transcendental form to Brahmaji. And he saw Lord Narayan seated on his splendid jewel throne, surrounded by 6 personified forms. These are religion, knowledge, wealth, fame, strength, and renunciation. Beauty is not mentioned there. I would assume that Lord Narayan himself is the beauty. So the personal forms of the four principal energies were also there. So 6 uh, personified forms, as I've just mentioned, and there's another 4 principal energies: Prakriti, Purusha, Mahatattva, and ego. They were also present. These govern the material creation. And along with them were the 16 elements personified. 5 elements, as we know: earth, fire, water, etc. 5 perceptive sense organs, and 5 working senses. And the mind makes 16. So they were also present then. So Lord Narayan is very happy to see Lord Brahma, and he said to Lord Brahma, "Please ask for a benediction, because you have performed penance, and penance is most dear to me." Well, we've got Nirjala Ekadashi coming next Ekadashi, so not too far away. So maybe we can do some penance as well for Lord Narayan. This is the idea, really. Would penance make Krishna happy? So Lord Narayan says that this penance, when one engages in penance, he directly connects with my internal spiritual energy, which is not different from me. So we get a direct connection with Lord Krishna. And there is no contamination or material enjoyment in the spiritual energy. So it is identical with penance, the spiritual energy. Well, Lord Brahma said that I would like to ask you some questions and just clear my doubts on some issues which I would like to ask. So I have put the questions in the chat area. You can follow them with me, and we'll see what Lord Narayan, how he answers those questions, and also the realizations of Lord Brahma when he gets those answers from Lord Narayan. So the first question was, Lord Brahma asked Lord Narayan, you are always transcendental, yet you accept the form of the material nature, material universe. So kindly fulfill my desire and explain this mystery to me. And Lord Narayan replied, the material universes are an expansion of my energies, which are nothing but me. The material universes are an expansion of my energy, they are nothing but me. Therefore, I am the material cosmos. The material world is a product of my four creative energies, which we say Prakriti, Vishnu, Mahatattva, and ego, which will also present as personified with Lord Narayan. So Prakriti, this is my creative energy, also known as Devi Maya, and she is my illusory energy, also known as Durga, because none can surpass her laws. And then Vishnu, my incarnation for material creation, from whom all the universes emanate. Then he further expands himself into each of them as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and also accompanies every living being as Paramatma. So these expansions of Lord Narayan. And the Mahatattva is the source of the entire cosmic manifestation. As we were saying last time, then when the dormant material energy awakens and then divides itself into appropriate activities, is called the Mahatattva. And then ego, which makes the living beings think they are this material body and independent enjoyer and controller. Because after all, this is why we have this material universe, so we can enjoy independently, because this is what we desired. So ego is also there, that covers us, and then we can enjoy ourselves without being the controllers ourselves. So Lord Narayan says the answer to your question is that my universe, universal form, comprised of these energies, is spiritual. Actually, although it seems material is spiritual, the conditioned souls, however, perceive it as material because they are deluded by these energies, so the ego. Okay, so Lord Brahma realization was that so everything material and spiritual was Krishna's expansion. In the spiritual world, his energies increased the loving relationships between him and his parts, while in the material world, these same energies concealed him. So the living beings could indulge their illicit desires to imitate him, being the proprietors and controllers. So that was Lord Brahma's realization to that question. And then in question 2, then Lord Brahma asked, Lord Narayan, you employ both your spiritual and material energies to create, maintain, and destroy the universe. I would like to know their respective qualities. So the spiritual and material energy, their qualities. Lord Narayan replied that the qualities of the material energy, or Devi Maya, is that by her influence, the conditioned souls don't see how everything is connected with me. She is like darkness which hides the truth. Whereas Goddess Lakshmi, the spiritual energy, my internal spiritual energy, said, by her grace, she draws the repentant souls near to me. And when they are free from all material desires, she reveals them to me. So the you have the Devi Maya, which helps you if you want to enjoy, your own. You want to be the controller, And when you have found out that now actually we are not the controllers, uh, we are the servants, then you get spiritual internal potency that will help you to get to Krishna, get back home. So Devi Maya and Goddess Lakshmi are mirror images of each other. Prakriti or Devi Maya is but a reflection of Lakshmi. Okay, so actually the whole material universe is a reflection of the real world. This is just reflection. So what is that mirror? Lord Brahma inquired. The mirror is the desire of restless souls to enjoy independently from me. So when you want to enjoy independently, then we are in the reflection area. This is why we are known as the marginal energy of the Lord. We choose which we can choose or we can desire which side we want to be on, material or spiritual. If you want to be on the material platform, then Prakriti covers us, makes us forget God's supreme position. And once we forget Him, she's able to throw us into the dark material cosmos under the false impression that we are independent controllers and enjoyers. So, when the conditioned souls become materially exhausted and aspire to know the truth, Goddess Lakshmi arranges for transcendental knowledge about the Lord to reach them through a self-realized pure devotee. So Krishna knows, Goddess Lakshmi knows, when we are ready, then they make some kind of arrangement. We'll meet the devotee somewhere. We'll get sadhu sangha, and then from that, your bhakti will kick in. So by her grace, anyone who sincerely tries to simulate this knowledge will understand the supreme position of the Lord, and the living entity will also understand that the Lord alone can help me, even the Lord is beyond their vision, just as a great fire can diffuse heat and light from a distant place. All beings are part of Him, and thus they derive pleasure by satisfying Him. So the Lord from the distance can satisfy us. And so Lord Brahma's realization was that, so just like the hand is in one sense the body, but not the whole body. So as the hand is meant to serve the body, the living beings should similarly serve Krishna, because we are a part. We're not the whole, we are part of Krishna, whereas Krishna is the whole. So when they become restless and desire to satisfy themselves independently, the Lord's external energy, Prakriti, makes them forget Krishna and the eternal connection with Him. She deludes them into thinking they are independent of Krishna and can control and enjoy by their own efforts. Whereas the internal energy reclaims the fallen souls who have been exhausted and they can go back home. So in question 3, Lord Brahma asks, so it seems to me that you manifest both the material and spiritual worlds from your own body, just as a spider spins its web. Still, I wish to know if you relate differently with your material and spiritual energies. And Lord Narayan replies, just as the universal elements enter the cosmos and at the same time stay without, so they enter and yet they stay without, similarly, I exist within everything created whilst remaining without. Lord Narayan continued to explain that in the spiritual world, his energies are fully conscious as they desire to enjoy the happiness of serving him. So even the spiritual energies are serving Lord Narayan. So on his order, they descend to the material universe when the material universe is created, and they remain unconscious because they have no attachment to enjoying there. Okay. Similarly, Lord Narayan doesn't enjoy the material energy either. He remains aloof of the material energy. So therefore he enters the cosmos as an expansion of himself, as we know, the Purusha avatars. While he remains in Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan remains in Vaikuntha. Then as the Purusha avatar, he enters the material energy to regulate and facilitate the rebellious souls desires, but have no personal attachment to matter. Thus he remains hidden from those under her influence, but because he is charmed by the spiritual energy, he shows himself and performs pastimes with his pure devotees who take shelter of the spiritual energy. So if you take shelter of the material energy, the Lord remains hidden. If you take shelter of the spiritual energy, then he reveals himself. Right, so finally, Lord Brahma asked, so I greatly fear becoming proud and thereby forgetting you, Lord Narayan. So kindly instruct me how I may execute my service of creation only for your pleasure. And whilst all is depending on you, I dread being carried away from the notion that I am the controller. Excuse me. So Lord Narayan explained that everyone is searching for happiness. Okay. So it's the nature of the soul to be happy. Satchit Anand, this is our nature. So, but we wrongly equate it with sensual gratification or material happiness because we are covered by Maya. We think we will find happiness in the material world, but this is not so. This is due to the misconception of the self identifying with material body. So the first step to attaining eternal spiritual happiness is to sincerely inquire about the nature of the self and life's purpose. That is the first thing we have to do. Self-realization, nature, who we are spirit soul, and what is our purpose? Our purpose to please Krishna, go back home, get love of Krishna. That is our purpose in life. Then by Lord's grace, the inquisitive soul begins to find the answers he seeks. So once you start on the path, the Lord will guide you, will help you. Then we can achieve the eternal spiritual happiness. So a person who makes proper inquiry from an authorized spiritual master in the parampara attains life's perfection and direct association with the Lord. So authorized spiritual master can clear all confusions. They don't speculate but support their answers on both direct and indirect teachings with scriptural evidence. So that's the real spiritual master who can do all this, and he gives you information with scriptural evidence. So we have direct and indirect teachings. Direct teachings are those that instruct the living being to awaken his loving relationship with Krishna. Okay, that's what it should be all about through Bhakti Yoga. If they're recommending something else, then you have to be careful. Beginning with hearing and discussing about Krishna, as well as meditating on the teachings and pastimes of the Lord, about his incarnations and his eternal associates. So we have to know all these things. They are all there. His pastime, the examples of eternal associates, they're all there for a reason. Because we want to serve Krishna, we want to love Krishna. We're meant to serve Krishna 24 hours, and unless we love him, we can't serve him. Okay, so as well as serving him, we have to find the ways how we can build that love for him as well, and that comes through his pastimes and knowing about his incarnations and about his devotees that found Krishna Prem. So that's the idea. So the indirect and secondary teachings relate to so that was the direct teachings, and the indirect or the secondary teachings relate to how society should be organized to optimally facilitate the practice of sadhana bhakti, or in other words, the varna ashrama dharma. That itself is a big topic, but I'm sure you know about the varnas and the ashrams. So it has to be in a balanced system, and then we can serve Krishna nicely. So the Lord said, my dear Brahma, always carefully contemplate and follow these instructions, and you'll never be disturbed by pride, falsely thinking yourself independent. After answering Lord Brahma's questions, Lord Narayan then disappeared along with his associates and about. Lord Brahma was again sitting on his golden lotus. surrounded by darkness once more. But now, however, he felt able to create the material universe just as it had been prior to the last devastation. Because Lord Narayan, through the Paramatma, revealed all the knowledge to him uh, within the heart. So the Lord was able to create, Lord Brahma was able to create the material universe. When he wakes up, he creates when the partial devastation happens. When he wakes up from his night, the new day starts. Then he recreates the material universe that was devastated, and on the full devastation, then obviously it starts all over again. The total creation, and usually there would be a new Brahma would come. So that was the conversation between Lord Brahma and Lord Narayan. So I would love to hear some realizations, what you gain from this discussion and meeting with the two lords. So let's just discuss something for a few minutes, and then we can do some chanting. So who would like to make a start? No pressure. Anybody would like to just discuss this conversation? Please look forward to it. So I think maybe Mayapu Prabhu. Prabhu, could you just tell us something about this? Are you?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. I was just reflecting on when you mentioned about the penances that Brahma did
yeah,
when they
yeah.
said tapa, tapa, tapasya. And actually, like you were mentioning about Ekadashi, and Ekadashi comes once every 11 days or so.
Yeah.
And the word for Sanskrit for fasting is upavas. Upa means to be near, and vas means residence. So whose residence should we be near when we are fasting? And obviously we know the residence of the Lord. So when we fast, it means that we develop a deeper connection to Krishna. It's not just about fasting in the external sense, but really deepening our relationship with Krishna. And yeah, there was a story in the Mahabharata where Dronacharya asked Yudhishthir Maharaj and and Duryodhan to go out and find a better person than you. So Duryodhan went to the kingdom and he came back and he said, there is no one better than me. I have seen the whole kingdom, there is no one better than me. Yudhishthira Maharaj went out and he saw this farmer and he was drawing well. But on this day, it was Ekadashi. So Yudhishthira Maharaj thought, and Ekadashi means total fast, right? Nowadays we have, Ekadashi pizzas and pastas, but in those days it was total fast. So Yudhishthira Maharaj then made an offense because he thought this farmer was drawing this water for himself. But actually, he realized that this farmer was drawing the water for his horse. So when he came back, he said to Dronacharya, yes, everyone is better than me. Everyone is better than me. So this is the mentality between a Vaishnava and someone who is very egocentric. That person who sees good in others, that's a Vaishnava. Just want to share these little thoughts that I had this morning. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was wonderful. Who else would like to share? Sureshi Mataji, are you there? Haribol? Okay, maybe we can go back to Sureshi Mataji later on. Venkat Prabhu, anything? Okay. Ami Mataji? Can't hear. Okay. Well, I was personally thinking, I mean, there was like two things which stood out for me. One was that this the whole with the creation scenario and everything, how you find that Krishna arranges everything. Everything, is well timed and arranged in a particular order, and how we are so tiny and useless, and everything is arranged by the Lord, which you find. I mean, even from Brahma's Ji's conversation, Ryan, he explains that how the material and spiritual energies are, that they take care of everything, and we just the desires. There's really not much we have. We don't really help that much in any process, and everything. We are basically a nuisance most of the time, and it's Lord Krishna, Lord Narayan, who it does this for us as like little children. He just fulfills our desires. We want to be with him. We want to be without him, and he's just creating all these things just for our pleasure. It's amazing, and when we start thinking about it, how much the Lord does for us or our whims, we can start appreciating that, how great it is. And then the other thing was Lord Brahmaji. I mean, he did meditation for over 1,000 celestial years. So I don't know. Just think about concept of time. Uh, I mean, we think obviously thousands, 360,000 years from the Earth's point of view is a lot. I don't know how it would feel uh, up there when doing. Obviously, it won't feel like 360,000 years, but it'll be still quite significant time for meditation. But you know, Lord Brahma has a very big task. He's a very important person. So Lord Narayan expects big things from him. Not just he wouldn't expect him to just fast for a day. I guess he would want him to do big things, uh, do a lot of penance. But then his reward was massive as well. And Lord revealed his eternal form and also his abode. So if if you want big rewards, that's my realization. You want big reward, then you have to do big things in return, and I think that's how that worked out. So, Sureshi Mataji, are you there? Ami Mataji? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Mataji, anything you'd like to add?
Um, when Lord Brahma was in the Vaikunt, and he was asking questions, and Lord Narayan, I mean, with his Krishna with his flute, the Gayatri came out, and it went to Brahma's heart, and then he got realization, and that's how the Gayatri month came,
Yeah,
because it was imparted to Brahma first.
sure. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Uh, hey, Mataji, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Mataji, would you like to add
Sorry,
anything?
did you say K Mataji or J Mataji?
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Notice
Yes,
yourself.
I'm there.
Yeah. What?
I'm just, sorry. I was just reflecting on how much of the whole canto so far and this chapter is based on questions and answers, just continual questions by Maitreya Muni and Lord Brahma. Like,
Yeah.
although he's the topmost human that in this universe, he still always has to rely on somebody to empower him to do his job.
Yes. Yes. Lord Brahma is totally reliant on Lord Narayan. Uh, even because even he's the engineer, but all the knowledge is passed on to him. All the material elements and everything that they are passed on to him to use, and also the knowledge itself is passed on by through his heart. Lord Brahma on his own, he's not able to do anything. In fact, when he became conscious, he didn't really know what to do. It was he had sort of inkling that he's supposed to create something, but he really doesn't know at first. Even in the partial creation, that what was I supposed to do? He's sort of scratching his head. Then I'm supposed to be doing something, but I can't remember what it is. And then Lord Narayan, he helps him to, gives him all the plans and everything that this is what you can to do, and then he follows the instructions basically. So he has the instruction manual there. He can't do by himself. He has to follow the instructions. Yeah, so that's a good point. So yeah, we are all relying on the Lord to guide us, from the smallest things to the biggest things. The only thing we are able to do is desire. We have our desires, our material desires, which we want to spiritualize, have change them to spiritual desires, and instead of pleasing ourselves, we should be pleasing Lord Krishna. That's the change we have to make within ourselves, and hopefully with this lockdown and everything, we want to spend more time and reflect as well. Because when we're busy, we got so many things to do outside. We are shopping and doing other chores and going to work. So with this time we have time to reflect on how we can improve our sadhana and really get the relationship on track. And then once it's on track, how we can speed it up and get through the anartha nivrittis, because we have so many anarthas in the heart that we need to clean, and then we can get to the next stage. So hopefully that's the idea. So anyone else would like to add anything? Okay. So we hope we can just do some chanting now. If you please have your beads ready, try and do some attentive chanting by listening to the mantra every time of what we're chanting. If we're not listening, that means we drifted away, and then we have to, because our mind, I think there were some questions yesterday about how to control the mind. Well, the mind is difficult to control because it's flickering. That's the nature of the mind, just like a child. It doesn't like to be controlled, but we just have to keep bringing it back. It tries to run away, we bring it back, and Lord Krishna, he understands that, because he has given us the mind. As we said earlier, there's the mind personified with Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. So he has given us the mind, he knows its nature. So we just, our job is to try. When the mind drifts away, we bring it back again, because we think, oh, I didn't hear the mantra last time. That means I was just lost in my thoughts. We just have to bring it back. That is our task. If we're not bringing it back, that means we're enjoying the thoughts we're having, whatever going through our head, we're enjoying it. And when you're chanting, that's not the idea. The idea is to bring it back to the chanting, and that's all Lord Krishna wants to say, that we're trying to bring it back, and we're trying to listen and take the mantra into our heart. So if it drifts away, there's nothing wrong with it, because that's what's supposed to happen. But what also supposed to happen is we're supposed to bring it back in line again, bring our thoughts back into the sound of the vibration. Thank you. Namo.
Haribol, can you hear me, Prabhu?
Andy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mataji.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Oh, I just remembered about when Lord Brahma seen Krishna in the spiritual planet. Then he started glorifying him with Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parma Krishna, Sachitan Vigra,
Yeah.
Anadi Radhi Govind Sabkaran Karanam, and then that's how we have Brahma Samhita. We
Excellent.
start because we seen is Chintamani, Prakara, Sadmasu, Kalbriksha, all this Brahma Samhita is very beautiful.
Yes, you're absolutely right, and yeah, that is wonderful. Yeah, thank you for reminding us of that. Yeah, exactly. So that's when he saw Lord Narayan, and then I guess that's where he. But what about the flute, Mataji? Because he mentions Lord Brahma mentions the flute as well.
Yeah, I read I think it's Brahma Samhita. That when Krishna applied the flute, through the flute, the sound entered into Brahma's heart, and then he had more realization. That's how the Gayatri
Yes.
started.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Brilliant.
Because he was the first one, Gayatri Mantri, that's how I realized that energy going, in our heart. That's
Excellent. Yeah, that's very good, Mother. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, this is so beautiful. So anyway, next week as well. So after, this is what is a beautiful pastime. We also have a very beautiful pastime next week. Is Satyavat Muni and Matsya Avatar, and we'll talk about Satyavat. I think we're all familiar with Satyavat Muni, and the prayer that he has established as well that we all use, and what we'll discuss in next week. It's really, really beautiful. Satyavat Muni and the Matsya Avatar we're going to discuss next week. So we'll do a couple of rounds now. Mataji, would you like to lead the rounds? Sarveshi Mataji,
yeah.
the 2 rounds. Would you like to do 2 rounds? We will follow you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharini